You had a very tragic circumstance when it comes to a death of a loved one. Tell us about your daughter, Pepe.
Well, where do I start? She was such a beautiful, vibrant young girl who had survived so much trauma in her life. She was only 22 years old. Losing a child is something that I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I'm not saying it's easier to lose your mom or your dad, because losing a loved one is still very sore. But as we age gracefully, we expect our children to bury us, not the other way around. So Pepe just left this world just like that. She left in the morning with 4 of her friends. By the end of the day, she was no more due to an accident that happened on the M1. 4 girls were in that car, and all the 3 died, including Pepe, who died as the car hit. And it took us over a day to find out where Pepe was. We were looking everywhere. So for me, the tragedy was, you know, when someone just rips your heart apart and you know no one can put it together. How we coped as a family, till this day, I look at my children. I remember for 3 good weeks, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I kept thinking I'm having a bad dream. Someone will wake me up and say, wake up, Patience is okay. You see, as she was saying, you go through all the emotions. You go first you go through the denial, this can't be happening, and how could it happen? And then when it sinks in that it's true, it has happened, it's very deep.
Now you have 7 children.
That's
how
right.
did they show their grief, and how did you manage to look after them?
Well, you know, there is no manual that comes along. What do you do when you've lost a child and when you have other children? As I said to you earlier, that for 3 weeks I couldn't sleep, I couldn't do anything. And I remember several weeks after this, my youngest son, who's 18 now, came to my bedroom. It was one of those days, because I had learned then to just take one day at a time. Some days were better than the other. I remember my son looking at me in the eye, and he said, "Mommy, I know Pepe is gone. She can't come back. But Mommy, we are still here. And we want our Mommy back." Do you know, that hit me. It was like, oh my God. So I was so engrossed with my grief that I didn't look at how are they coping. And I'm so sorry. I just stood up and hugged my son. And I said, okay, I know Mommy has to pick herself up. From then on, I just had to go one by one, spend one by one with my children. How are you feeling? And I realized that they were all grieving in different forms.